And my next guest, it's such a pleasure to be sitting next to her. She's currently the CIMG Marketing Woman of the Year. Very well respected, and I'll tell you why. Now, currently, she's the Commissioner for Right to Information Commission, and also she serves as the chair, current board chair and CEO of Business and Financial Times. Well, current board chair, at least for that, I'm very sure of. And in fact, every morning when we're taking a look at the headlines in the newspapers, Business and Financial Times always represent, and it's very big on businesses across the continent in Ghana and even beyond. And well, she is the board chair, of the BNFT. And that's not all. There are lots of things that she's done. She's an entrepreneur. She's a consultant. She holds a BA in Management Studies from UCC, Executive MBA from Gimpa Business School. She has a postgraduate diploma in marketing from CIMG, postgraduate certificate in newspaper management from Inwent International Institute of Journalism, and doctorate degree, in BA from the international, from Walden University in the USA in international business. And so my very special guest this morning is Dr. Edith Dankwa. It's a pleasure, ma'am, having you in the studios, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I was just telling you off air that I saw you dancing after you won the award. You must have felt very elated after winning.
Yeah, it's quite humbling.
Yeah.
After going through, because you sit at the other end, promoting people in the paper, projecting businesses and individuals, and so you pay little attention on yourself. So being recognized, for what we've done over the years, it was quite humbling.
I can imagine the sacrifices and the many things you've had to endure to get to this point.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that.
It's been a long journey, very interesting, at the same time, difficult times coming. But we bought Business and Financial Times about, I think 21 years ago, 2000. And it was established by one Mr. Hansen, late Mr. Hansen. And so we bought it from him as a small newspaper. So it was a weekly newspaper that was published only on Mondays. And it was quite tough because penetrating the market, the only newspaper that was available was graphic, graphic. And then the business newspaper, I think at the time, was High Street Journal, but they were facing some challenges. It's gone down. And so we came around that time, and to convince people to advertise and do business with us, you can just imagine.
Yeah, you said you knocked on doors and they weren't minding you.
Yes. You always had to justify why they should advertise and do business with you than the national newspaper. And that was quite, it was tough. But at the same time, it stirred up your imagination, your innovation, your creativity, just to get people and to also convince people why they should do business with you, and also to create value. Yeah. Because people will not, or companies will not do business with you when you're not giving back. You have to add value to what you do, and they have to see value or good in what you do. Yeah. I mean, in terms of providing business information, we had to do something different. Yeah. Apart from the regular business, social business, we just decided, look, let's just create a niche. Let's serve the business community with what they need, the information that can help them to make decisions in the boardrooms, in the organizations, to help them, grow. And when they grow, we also grow because they give us business at the end of the day. So you really have to satisfy your readers, with the right information, the accurate information, the quality of your newspaper, and everything comes to play.
I can imagine, but I remember that you spoke to the businessyear.com in 2018, and when you're talking about the challenges and advantages, you mentioned that one thing that your business has to take advantage of is technology, and so you were looking into that as well. It's been 2 years of COVID, and technology just literally took over everything. How has BNFT taken advantage of that?
We have. I mean, we were adjudged the Technology Media 2021, or 2020 rather.
2020, yes.
We started early, but sometimes I feel that we didn't push at the time. We didn't push enough. Although
No?
we did. I mean, we did what we could, but we could have been more aggressive. But then, I mean, even without being that aggressive, we're where we are today, and we have one of technologies in terms of e-paper that matches international or global standards. What we have is like what Financial Times of London has.
I see.
Yes, so it's not just the PDF, but it's very interactive.
Okay.
You subscribe, you receive it every day, you open it, you sit behind. It's not the regular PDF that you're not able to move around with, maneuver. But this one is very interactive. You can send messages whilst you read.
Okay.
You can, so we're happy with what we've done, and we think a lot of promotion has to be done to push it into the system. We have a lot of subscriptions coming through, but we believe that, I mean, we are so happy because we are the first, actually to start the e-paper in Ghana. Yes. Because we had, the Business Times magazine, and we're in South Africa at the time, and the technology was in South Africa and not Ghana. So we brought it to Ghana. But because we're not prepared for that technology at the time, we're very quiet until COVID hits. So we're just prepared for COVID.
You went all guns blazing.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I see. But must be good, but it must have cost a lot to also invest in that aspect of business.
It costs, but not as much as the hard copies will cost.
Rather?
Yes.
That's surprising.
Yes.
Because I thought it would cost a lot more, developing a website, creating a portal, all that.
You have no idea how much you spend a day to bring that paper out. Because you're buying paper newsprint, you're importing them.
Wow.
So it's cheaper to subscribe to the e-copy than to buy the hard copy.
But that's the sad part. We're importing what? Paper?
Yes.
To
newsprint.
print?
Yes.
But we should be able to print our own papers here.
Not the printing.
No, the papers.
Newsprint, yes.
That's what you're saying. And I'm saying that we should be able to. I mean, paper is made from what?
Wood.
We have so much wood that we're exporting.
I'm not sure if I don't know much about it, but that's where we are, and that's why it's good to push industrialization, to get people to get into that space so that we can produce what we need, what we consume, whether it's paper, whatever it is. But we also have to look at what we have in terms of our natural resources, what we have, and how do we add value to what we have.
Exactly.
So
tell me a bit about businesses in Ghana, especially. I mean, you've been reporting on the business trends across the country. COVID hit badly, and I can imagine how these businesses are just, going under.
Yes, I think COVID was just a test of how resilient and strong businesses were at the time. We're all not prepared for it.
Yeah.
But then what I learned from it is that as an organization, you always have to be ready for a disaster. You always have to be prepared for the unforeseen circumstances, things that come your way that you don't expect.
Yeah.
So, like I said, with the technology, we were prepared. Indirectly, we didn't know COVID was coming. But because the world was moving into technology, it helped us. So I think as businesses, we should be, a lot of businesses have gone down, and a lot are also, surviving, and some are doing, those who are prepared and strong are still in business. But I think that these are lessons for the business community, for individuals, that you have to save for a rainy day, and you have to be prepared. And so I think that as a country, maybe as an organization, or as organizations or individuals, we have to look at how to be sustainable, run sustainable organizations. Beyond the profit making, how do we invest into running sustainable organizations such that the organizations will be there the next 100 years, even if the owners are alive or not, and even if we have issues or not. There's always a curve. Organizations grow, they get to the peak, and then they start to. But if you really want to be relevant, then you have to have that in mind and see how you're able to position when you get to the peak. Are you diversifying? Are you creating other products such that you don't fall? Because when you come down, you're coming down with individuals, organizations. It's a whole network.
How have you done that for BNFT?
It's I don't know. That's a big question.
It is?
It is. It is because sometimes you have to be a bit selfless. That doesn't mean that you won't face the problems or the challenges that has a tendency of bringing you down. But I think the passion for the business to be relevant, and then for the business to be sustainable is what keeps individuals or organizations going. Because you have issues with cost of doing business, you have issues, HR related issues, you have issues with competition. But beyond that, how are you able to, what is your risk? How do you exactly, you know? So for me, that is what it is. I mean, the will to be alive, the will to stay relevant is what is important.
I see. Should young people be focusing more on entrepreneurship? You've been an entrepreneur for what, 20 years and over?
Yeah, I was actually started as an entrepreneur. I started as an employee, and then gradually I became part of the process. But what I learned from my experience, I think that entrepreneurship is good, but it's not everyone who can be an entrepreneur. I'll start from the employee side. As employees, we have to own the process. You have to own the organization indirectly. And once you do that, you have a place at the table. The managers or management or board or whatever, once you make yourself relevant, the organization will always come after you. Even when you decide to go, they'll be prepared to pay anything to get you in. And I think you do that by owning the process. So you take it as your own business. And you always keep asking yourself, if this business is mine, would I be doing what I'm doing? How would I behave? Would I behave differently? Or am I doing this because the business is not mine and I get paid at the end of the month? So it's the sense of ownership that will get you places. And once you're able to cultivate that, you know, the habit of owning that process, you can easily get out there and do your own business because you have cultivated, you have the skills that will help you to establish your own business and run it efficiently and effectively.
So should you start off as an employee just to gain that skill?
It depends. You know, there are some people who are talented, who have the passion to start their own business. Nothing stops such individuals from doing it. What I keep saying that you don't need so much money to start business. Once you have the know-how and the passion and the talent to do something. Look, there are so many young people doing great things. What I'm wearing now is by Ghanaian.
Exactly.
You know, she's selling globally, not only in Ghana. I'm not sure whether she started as an employee. I don't know. But there are people who have started their own businesses and they're doing very well. I have a cousin who she's called Amna Okain, Henrietta Okain. She's doing her own business. She started working in a bank and she decided to move on. I have another one, so many of them, you know, Debbie Frimpong. She's also doing great things and making clothes for, not only clothes, you have people doing cream, body lotion, you know, and they're selling out of this country. So if we can only pay attention to them and promote them internally, and then also see how we can also push them, even on the continent, Africa. Now we have AFTA here. If we're able to promote them and support them, the people come chasing, and I'm sure that they cannot even meet demand because there's still opportunities out there that we're not looking at. But because of our mindset, sometimes we always want to start working for a bank or with a bank to be recognized. You see, it takes a lot of sacrifice to start your own business.
Exactly, and capital, which is what a lot of young people don't have.
Yes, but you see, sometimes you don't need that much.
You don't?
You don't.
Does it depend on the idea, the business idea?
It depends on the business idea. It's good to think big, but you can start small. It's always good to think big. And those who make the mistake of thinking big and starting big, you realize that they don't move. So you always have to think big and start small. If you have what it takes to start big, that's fine. If you don't, then you start small. BNFT started as a weekly newspaper.
But you bought it off someone. It must have cost a lot to buy it.
It did.
Yes.
It did. I didn't buy it. Those who could afford it bought it at the time.
That's the thing. But what if I can't afford it, but I also have that dream of running a BNFT?
You start small. You start with online. You start as an online paper and you sell it. Once you're given value, people would always do business with you.
Yeah.
And gradually you will grow. You don't have to do a hard copy.
But you need money to run the space online as well. You know, GRA is going to come after you because you have to pay your taxes and a few other things as well.
That's what I'm saying. Assuming you're a journalist, I use those who are talented, who have the talent and the know-how. If you're a journalist and you can write and you can ask for support from even colleagues, you come together and say, look, this is what we're doing. We all don't have what it takes. If you have money, bring your money on board. You don't have to be alone. You can do it as a team.
Okay.
We always want to be alone and be recognized that this person did that. But it's always good to, and there are people, case studies, there are people who have done it and it's worked for them.
There are people who did and it didn't work as well.
Yes.
So collaboration doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work, but you have to look for the right people.
You have to look for the right people.
Yes.
It won't be easy.
With the same vision.
But do we have the system that supports startups? And I could even use women as an example because on the African continent, we're told that we have more women than men who have their own businesses. But even that, the women are paid, they make less, like 38% less of what the men actually make on the continent. So that's the problem. Do we have the support system for that?
I don't think we do, but we have advocates. We're still talking about it. You have the Executive Women's Network.
Which you're co-founder of, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You have a number of organizations pushing for women to be up there. And so it may take time for us to get there completely and compete with our male counterparts. But I can also bet you that there are women who are up there who are taking as much as the men are taking. So it's a value you place on yourself.
Okay.
Okay, there are systems where, I mean, you go for an interview. A man may ask for $100 million a year. The woman may go ask for the same amount, and the board wouldn't feel, or the panel wouldn't think that, you know, this person should take this much. So it is the value you place on yourself and how you do it, your position. Because there are other people there who are also benefiting one way or the other. You know, it doesn't mean that there are no challenges. The challenges are there. So we have to keep pushing. You know, till we get up there.
Keep pushing till you get up there. Let's talk about the media fraternity. You've been playing in this space for quite a while. What do you make of the media? I mean, at the time, like you mentioned, when you went into BNFT and printing and all that, media was in its nascent stages. Well, print media at that time was in its nascent stages. But over time, we've seen the media grow. What do you make, or what's your verdict of the media in Ghana at the moment? I like that you had to smile. Is it doomsday already?
No, I think we've done well. How far we've come. I mean, media has done really well, and the individuals and organizations who have tried to push, you know, for the media to grow. But then we still have some. We have a long way to go. We have to build our capacity.
Okay.
You know, and to compete globally.
Globally, that's something we're not doing.
Because I get really worried when we have, we're all working in a global space, but I find it a bit worrying when we have international media coming into Africa, not only Ghana, and they're taking the I would say shine, attraction, and because of what they give, because of how professional they are with what they do, and they come for the fact, you know, when they're selling adverts, you know how much it costs. We're prepared to pay. But if a local newspaper or media goes charging the same fee, especially the print, I mean, why should we give you that much? Maybe because of the spread, they are all over and we are not. But I think that there should be a deliberate effort to put media, Ghanaian-owned media, businesses out there.
Whose job is it to do that?
It is our job,
okay.
and it's also the job of the environment. Organizations don't work on their own. We're working in a country, there are policies, there's government, there's, there are stakeholders. So stakeholders must ensure that the environment is conducive. Media is supported. So because you have many people complaining about, the quality of stories we put out there, the quality of, journalists we have, the professionalism, how we don't do things right. And I'm asking that how is media being supported? It's a chicken and egg situation. If media owners must invest into media and also be able to build capacity. But when you invest, you should also get that benefit, that support. Nothing stops government from saying that, look, we're identifying 5 media organizations every 5 years. To push them, to support them with government business. Because we have, look, and that is so bad. I go to government institutions and you want advert and they will tell you that we're supposed to advertise in only Graphic and Times.
Really?
Yes. And I'm like, are you serious?
Wow.
And we may even be producing quality information, information that you will not find in these newspapers. So who should support us? And how do we get out there? Because if you expand, you have a tendency to employ more people. When you go out there into other countries, you gain more money in, the money comes in. So if we are deliberately stifling the effort of such organizations, so what are we doing?
I like that you've brought this in because RTI, you are commissioner, at the commission, and one of the things that a lot of media people have spoken against is the limitations that have been put on the RTI law. The fact that there are some 15, areas where journalists cannot gain access, about 13 actually categories of information that journalists cannot gain access to, and most of them border around government related issues. So if it's information at the presidency, you cannot access it. Vice president, information on even tax, you cannot access it. And that's been a major problem. You sit on the board. Tell me what efforts are being made to ensure that when a journalist requires information about, in some of these categories, they can gain access to it. Recently, not too long ago, the commission, ruled on an issue where journalists wanted some information from the Minerals Commission, and they asked for $1,000 to be able to give that information to them. You ruled and said it was what, $33 only. Was it 33? Yes.
No,
or 3, it was some amount
or so.
exactly for them to gain that access. So you gave that ruling so that the journalists can gain access to it. But it's been a challenge because journalists have complained that I've walked into this department or this company and said I require this information. It's either I don't have access to it because of the limitations, or I have to pay some amount of money for it. Tell me what the commission is doing about this situation.
Okay, so 2 things. Information, government information. Has been paid by the taxpayer. Okay, it is believed that whatever information comes out of government organizations or institutions has been paid by the taxpayer. So if you're going in for such information, you shouldn't pay again. You should just pay for reproducing that information. So if it is via email, you don't even pay. If it's photocopy, you pay for the value of or the cost of the photocopy. You also mentioned something else about information that journalists are not able to.
The 13 categories.
No, you would agree with me that you can't. It's not every information you can put out there, because there are information that is security related, information that maybe is going to cabinet. President hasn't seen it, and you're asking for that information. Information that is related to maybe how do you call it, a business research, that we shouldn't be privy to, because it may affect security or the value. There's an economic value, attached to it. It's not every information that. So there are exempt information. Okay, you mentioned the issue of the tax. The tax, if the person involved gives the consent that the tax, whatever about him, should be given out, should be put out there. It can't be put out there. But if it's issues related to your personal tax also, and we go journalists say, look, I want to see Bella's information on her taxes. It's just not right.
It's not. But let's just say that the president has this high-profile meeting, security-wise, it's, you know, high-profile. We may not be able to ask for those details with whoever he may be meeting, but can we at least ask for the cost incurred in meeting this person in case the president has to travel out and all of that? And we want the details because maybe we've identified some unscrupulous dealings, underhand dealings here and there. Do we have access to that?
I'm sure it always comes out. I mean, the cost of such things. But it is in the act. The things that are exempt and the things that are not exempt. And if it's not exempt, then you have every right to go for that information.
Okay. So can we go to the National Security or Defense and ask for details of the president's recent travels? I mean, he's been accused, you know, of spending so much on private jets when we actually have the Falcon sitting there. And just yesterday we were told that there was a deliberate attempt not to give that information out. So
if you refer to the act and it is in that you can go for information about president, the cost of
his travels,
travels, so be it. You can. If you're not giving that information, then you can petition the commission.
And how is that ruling going to happen then? Because if I come to the commission will still refer me to the act. Would it not?
No, the act is just a guide to tell us what we should have access to and not have access to. So
if the act says I don't have access to ABC and I still petition the commission?
No, you can't. If you don't, if you shouldn't have access to it, if it's in
then
the
it
act,
won't even.
Then you know. If it's in the act that you shouldn't have access to the cost, I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure. I mean, if it's security related, then they will not give it to you. But if it's about costs, I cannot, because I don't have the act here.
Yeah.
I have to refer to it. But if the act says you can go for such information, you should go for it. If you don't get it, then you petition the commission. You get your results at the end of the day.
Okay. in wrapping up, I mean, again, back to this award that you've won. What is the rest of the year looking like for Dr. Edith?
The year is close. It's ending next month.
It is.
It is ending. We just have a month.
Yeah.
But it will be more of planning for next year. RTI, we're still on our regional tour to educate the public on their rights to information. And then also I have my board activities, apart from the BNFC, I'm on other boards as well.
Yeah.
So planning for me, it's more of planning for next year and seeing how best we can use this award to change the world.
Okay.
In terms of marketing, at least we start from Ghana.
Yeah.
You know, how can we make an impact with the achievement, not just having the awards and just be happy about it, but how to impact and use it in a way that benefits others as well.
Yeah,
you know, because in terms of marketing, if you look at the scale Ghana, I mean, how are we marketing ourselves? How are we branding ourselves? A lot goes into that. And so it will be good to contribute to that area, you know, see how best we can position Ghana in a manner that we are attractive, but more attractive to the rest of the world.
Let's see how that goes. I wish we could talk some more, but I know you have to also go back to work. And so thank you so much for your time this morning. Congrats again.
Thank you.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Well, I've been speaking to the Commissioner of the Right to Information Commission, Dr. Edith Dankwa. She's also the current board chair of Business and Financial Times, and she wears a number of caps as well. So, well, it's been a privilege speaking to her. And quick one before we go, let me say happy birthday to Pastor Bonnie from Harriet and all Judah Praise members at Ritz, and also a birthday wish from Kojo to Madam Patience Ama. God grant your innermost joy and all your heart's desires be filled with unending happiness. And again, happy birthday to Koko's child this morning. Happy birthday to you. You want to say something quickly before we go?
Just take this opportunity to say a big thank you to one or two people, my father, Seth Akwe, my siblings, and also my uncle, Reverend Dr. C.B. Moses, who has been very instrumental in my my journey.
Yeah.
So thank you all. special people, Mrs. Osei-Kuffour. I can't mention you all, but thank you all. My husband, my sweetheart.
Thank you.
Almost forgot.
You forgot to mention me.
And Bella.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Don't worry, people. I'll do the other birthday wishes when I come back. But yeah, I've been speaking to Dr. Edith Dankwa, and we'll be back with some more entertainment and a few other things that we'll be talking about. Keep watching.